Hi, my name is Lindsay Campbell, and I've been with Legal Aid Services of Oklahoma since 2015.
Hi, I'm Evan Humphreys. I'm an attorney here at Legal Aid Services of Oklahoma, and I've worked here for 5 years.
I started out in the Oklahoma City Legal Aid Office and was happy to transition to the Hugo Legal Aid Office, which is in rural southeast Oklahoma.
My favorite part of practicing law has been seeing the change that you can make in an individual person's life. Seeing that transformation from beginning of a case to the end of a case is really something spectacular.
So I do primarily domestic violence work. I've done that since 2016. And one of the biggest things that I see people that come to us and they don't know what their options are. I meet with them, I talk with them, we may file something, we may not file something, we may just kind of talk about it. And then they kind of disappear for a little while, and I'll see them, in town with the person. I know that they've gone back to them, but then they come back and they say, hey, I'm ready this time. I want a protective order. I want to get this divorce done, and I want to be done with this. And I'm so happy and proud when they do that, because it tells me that, I let them know that they had an option. And even though they weren't ready to go through that door, they knew that they could come back to it, that it wasn't closed. And that's like the most gratifying thing. And I've seen that a lot over the past several years.
So Godman has a very large immigrant population. It's about at least 50% Hispanic. I think there are somewhere between a dozen and 24 languages spoken in the local schools. We have a wide variety of immigrants from places like Burma, Vietnam, Thailand, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Sudan. I've had clients from France and Ukraine, from all over, from Jamaica. This is an incredibly diverse area. People come from all over the world to find jobs and find work here. Those are some of the most rewarding cases because they are the most terrified of the legal system, of being in the courthouse alone, not knowing the language, not understanding the process, fearing that they might be arrested and deported, and being able to explain to them their legal rights and assist them through that process is really, really amazing. So Legal Aid Services is so committed to language access that I remember one particular case, we had an individual with an unemployment appeal in the middle of COVID who spoke only Tigrinya, and we were able to get an interpreter for him for his administrative hearing, which without our intervention is not something he would have been able to do because he would have had no way to even communicate his need for that to the appeals tribunal.
Being able to see changes in people's lives, and the joy of working in a rural area is you run into people probably more often than you would in the city. When I practiced law in the city, I didn't see my clients that often outside in the wild, so to speak. But when I'm down here, I see people at the store, I see people, at the bank, wherever, and you see the difference in them. Just their whole demeanor has changed from the moment you started helping them to the moment that you see them in the grocery store.
The great thing about working at Legal Aid is even if you are in the most remote part of the state, you are still part of a network of 100+ attorneys. And I've never reached out to somebody who wasn't willing to give me their time and their expertise, even when they didn't know who I was.
I think one of the things to know if you're considering moving to a rural area, there's lots of stereotypes and misconceptions. I mean, all you have to do is turn on the TV. There's shows where they talk about like the attorney that moves to a rural area, and it's just all this tomfoolery. But really, it's not like that. We have culture. We have, an appreciation for art. And where I live, I'm very fortunate that we have the Museum of the Red River, and it's just this beacon of culture. It's state of the art, and we have a dinosaur. And honestly, we bring in speakers. There's all kinds of options and opportunities for people that maybe enjoy, going to a museum and having a nice meal, to get involved and enjoy doing that.
I've made some great friendships here, had some really great mentors here. I got married a few weeks ago to a local girl, so if I hadn't taken a job here at Legal Aid, that certainly would not have happened. I came out here single, and before I even got here, people at the courthouse knew who I was. They were looking for a girlfriend for me. So I'd say, if anything, if you're looking for a partner, you should move to a rural office because the people here will find one for you.
It's not boring. You'll get to do probably more in courtroom stuff than you would in the city, especially quicker. And you can have a social life. You can make it whatever you want it to be. I found that I saw my friends more when I moved down here because I could go up to Norman for an art walk, or I could and stay the night with some friends and just get to catch up and really enjoy that time together.
The internet we have in the country is the same internet that you get in the city. I have internet, it works just fine. If you are looking to make some money down the road, I think a rural area is a great place to practice. There is a dearth of attorneys out here, and it's a very easy environment to start your own firm if down the road that's something you want to do. And legal aid is a great place to start that off.
You have this opportunity to really make something of your career and yourself. You can go far with legal aid, and you can make a big difference if you just are committed to service and willingness to, like I said, learn on the job.
If you're looking for a lot of courtroom experience, you will definitely get that. I've had, I think, 500 plus cases in my 5 years here.
Because there is so much of a shift where people are retiring or, no longer practicing for whatever reason, there's a need for attorneys, legal aid attorneys and otherwise, in these rural communities, and so there's a lot of potential for earning.